Sounds like it's almost the end of summer and finally into some fall weather this weekend.
Just gonna shut my window so we don't hear all the noise from the ferries. Okay. Okay, you know what? Let's just get started and then I guess they can join in. This way, we'll just start with our housekeeping stuff so we don't keep everybody on any longer than it has to be. So if we could just start by everybody saying rising and pledging. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I would like to welcome everybody to the October 2023 Borough Board meeting. We have Department of Health as a guest today. I'm just going to start by officially calling the meeting to order and taking attendance. So right now, okay, there is CB2. So right now we have full attendance. The borough president, all three council people, and all three community boards are represented. So Brooke was kind enough to send everybody a copy of the minutes from last month. So can I just entertain a motion to accept last month's minutes, please?
Motion to accept.
Okay, Jerry first, Nick second, thank you. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go right into the presentation. Department of Health, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for hosting us and coming together. My name is Tejumade Ajayoba. I'm the Executive Director of Community Affairs, and I have my colleagues here who will introduce themselves, who will be giving you all a presentation on the various data tools that we have and how you can use them and how it can help shape the work that you're doing. So I guess I'll pass it off to Emily since she's the face that I see.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Sure can, Emily.
Okay, amazing. I'm Emily. I'm the Health Content Manager at the Environment and Health Data Portal, which we'll be talking about shortly. And I work with Matthew on the Bureau of Environmental Health and Surveillance Policy. I'll pass it over to Matthew.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Hi, folks. Again, thanks so much for having us. Tejumade, thanks so much for inviting us and setting this up. All of you in Staten Island, appreciate your attention for a few minutes. My name is Matthew Montesano, and I'm the Director of Data Communication in the Bureau of Environmental Surveillance and Policy at the Department of Health. And Emily and I are here to give you a quick demo of a website that we work on, the Environment and Health Data Portal. So Emily, actually, if you don't mind sharing your screen so we can get that up on folks' screens. I'd like to give a quick little introduction about what this website is and how it can be a tool for you all to use. Then Emily is going to give you a quick demo through some of the different parts of the website, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have that might come up in the course of this. So this website is, we hope, a valuable resource for people like you in serving your constituents and the residents of your communities. So with the Environment and Health Data Portal, the Department of Health is trying to give you and people like you access to lots of data sets on environmental health in New York City. And so, okay, what do we mean by environmental health? Well, that's everything outside the person that can affect health. So this might be chemicals in the air, ground, and water, or it can be the quality of our housing, the places where we spend time. It can also be access to things that improve our health, like park space, or exposure to things that can harm our health. So our view of environmental includes things in the chemical environment, the built environment, and also the social and economic environment, since access to resources is a crucial part of health. So we view things like inequality and poverty as part of the environment that can harm health. So on the Environment and Health Data Portal, we share neighborhood level data, and we create connections between things in the environment and health outcomes. So the website offers data sets on these environmental factors and these health outcomes. In addition to the data sets, we also have a variety of resources that help explain what's going on in these data sets. So we try and build this for people who aren't epidemiologists or aren't data analysts to try and take the knowledge that we have and that our colleagues create and the analyses that we have and the access to all these health data, and we try and make available to the general public. So with that in mind, some things that you might be able to do with it are to go to the website, and understand health issues in your neighborhood, look into what might be causing them and what might be viable approaches to address them. And so with that, to frame your experience with the site, I'll turn things over to Emily, who can give you a quick look around the website. And like I said, if any questions come up in the course of this demo, feel free to sort of flag them and we can chat about them after the demo. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew. So yeah, we're just going to look at a couple sections of this site that you might find interesting and helpful. The first one we're going to look at is neighborhood reports. So over here, you can type in a zip code or a neighborhood. I'm just going to do Port Richmond, and you can select a topic on the left over here, asthma and the environment, climate and health, housing and health, and some other topics.
I don't see anything on my screen. Is everyone seeing all of this?
Are people having issues with the screen sharing?
Yeah, we can see it. Jerry,
I
you
can
might want
see
to
it.
change your layout to what's called a stack.
I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm sorry. I'll
okay.
listen carefully, but I don't know how to do anything.
Okay, I'll have screenshots for the minutes as well.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We can, we have some slides also of some of this stuff. We can probably send those over, or at least some screenshots.
Oh,
of
that'd be
kind of
great,
the
Emily.
main
Thank you.
pieces. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So this is a neighborhood report for Port Richmond on the topic of asthma and the environment. So over here, you can kind of see how certain data sets compare between this neighborhood and other neighborhoods. So asthma ED visits for adults are actually worse in this neighborhood compared to some other neighborhoods. And you can look at other indicators as you scroll through. And if you wanted to get a little bit more detail on one of those indicators, you can look at how the neighborhood compares to other neighborhoods, to the borough, and to New York City as a whole. So these are all really great tools for collecting, comparing, and understanding data and trends over time. And then if you click this, get the data, you can look at full data sets. This is another really powerful component of our site. This is the Data Explorer. And over here, you can look at different ways for the data to be visualized. You can look at maps, there's line charts, other things of that nature. There's also links kind of looking at how different topics are related to each other. There's also disparities over here. And yeah, you can kind of navigate through related indicators on the left over here, learn a little bit about the topic and how it's connected to the environment on the left here. And you can even find a way to contact your elected officials if you have some thoughts about that particular topic. And now we're going to look at some ways that we kind of present data within context, because data doesn't tell us the entire picture of why something is the way it is. So we have data stories. These are kind of like narrative-driven pieces of content that also include and emphasize a lot of the data on the portal. They have really fun, obviously not a fun topic, but fun interactive visualizations that you can use to find out quite a bit about a particular issue. And yeah, we really enjoy putting these together. And we try to make them really easy for people to understand and kind of gain insight into why something is the way that it is and why it's connected to health. And then lastly, if you're interested in finding out more about a topic kind of holistically and looking at all of our different content features in one place, you can navigate to key topics over here. And that will put our data features, our data stories, our data sets, our neighborhood reports, and everything all in one place so that you can kind of, take your pick of how this content is provided and learn a little bit more and learn about something in depth. So that's kind of the main overview. If you are interested in getting periodic updates about new content and new data that we're putting on the portal, you can sign up for our email list. which is, oh, right here, under Get Updates and Announcements. Super simple form, just provide your email. We also periodically do requests for user-based research because we're always trying to make the portal more user-friendly and more useful. So that's something that you can opt in as well. Yeah, that's our demo. Thank you. If anyone has questions, feel free to jump in.
Does any board members have any questions?
Emily,
Yes.
great collection of data. This is terrific for a laptop or a PC. Do you have any modifications that you've made to access it from a device? Or is it still just basically shrunk down for that?
Yeah, great question. I think most of the things we put on here, we try to keep mobile devices in mind so that they're easy to navigate on tablets and phones and things like that.
It's great work. It's a ton of data that you've compressed in there.
Thank you.
It really is. Okay, anybody else? Okay. I guess
Marie,
that's
can
it.
I ask a question? Hi, it's Dr. Mentel. Hi,
Go
it's
ahead,
Dr.
Jenny.
Ginny here. So thank you for that. I just one suggestion and comment. I don't know if everybody's already familiar, but Emily, would it be possible to just walk through, like, from the very scratch, how do you access this portal? You know what I'm saying? You like went into the presentation already on the portal, but for someone who's
sure.
trying to access it, that was the first thing. The other thing that I was wanting to know is how current is this data and how frequently is updated? And then the last piece is, when you say neighborhood, it's different from what we are perceiving as neighborhood. So can you define that neighborhood boundary? And also, can you talk, because Port Richmond, or I'm just using Stapleton, St. George as another example, a lot of zip codes are kind of compressed when you look at that neighborhood level that the health department looks at. And can you just sort of familiarize everybody on the call so that they're aware that if it says Port Richmond, St. George, for instance, it doesn't just include that one zip code. It might include multiple zip codes, and Port Richmond, for example, might include multiple zip codes, much larger than just the Port Richmond neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the first question, sorry, our lights just turned off. So to get to the portal, our URL isn't the most intuitive at the moment, although we are working on that. What is the best way to get to our site, Matthew?
So I actually just added the URL to the chat,
Awesome.
but it's also, if you go to nyc.gov/health/data, there's a link to it from there as well.
I would like to say something. I'm an amateur at this. You had on the screen data portal, so I Googled data portal, and everything pops up. So it's really not that. If I could do it, you could all do it. It's data portal. You just go to Google, Safari, wherever you go, and that shows up. And there's explore data, neighborhood reports, data stories, climate and health hub, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, awesome. Matthew, do you want to take those other questions? I feel like you might have some more insight.
Yes, as long as people don't mind my dog barking in the background. Sorry about that. So let's see. So one of the questions was about how often the data are updated. So one of the ways that this site works is we pull data from a variety of different sources, and some of those sources are from within the health department. Others are data sources from the state or the federal government or other city agencies. So basically, we have like the most recent data is often several years in the past because these data sets take many years to update. We're working with hundreds and hundreds of data sets on the portal, and we're updating any given one of them at one time. But sometimes for some of the data sets, like the most recent data is, 2018 or 2019. It's not like, right when the calendar year ends, we're able to get the data up onto the site. But we try and be as timely as the whole system that produces the data sets allows. The next question was about the neighborhoods, which is a really good question. And this also gets at the sort of diversity of data sets that we have. And these different data sets have different geographic resolutions. So some of them are available at neighborhood tabulation area, which is a really fine unit. that's based on census tracts, and some of them are only available at what's called UHF 42, which is a neighborhood scheme that the health department uses as part of its health research. Now, this isn't super useful for community boards because obviously the boundaries of community boards don't line up with the same 42 neighborhoods in this UHF 42 scheme, but we do have a lot of data by community district and by this other boundary scheme called PUMA, which is very similar to community district. It sort of depends on what data set, and that may be a little bit sort of frustrating, but anytime you go into a data set, it sort of shows you the data at the finest spatial resolution available so that you can kind of hone in on the smallest area that you're interested there.
Thank you, Matthew.
You're welcome.
A quick question. I'm sorry. Is it possible, for example, if we invite the health department to talk to some of the health partners that are working on certain specific environment and health issues, is it possible for me to ask the team to come out and do this presentation to some of the health partners?
Absolutely. That would be very cool. I can, Emily and I can drop our email addresses in the chat if you'd like to reach out to us and we can talk details.
Absolutely. And Miss Marie and I work in neighboring offices, so I can certainly get it from her as well. But yeah, that would be great.
I'll add them in the minutes as well.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it would be useful because we work on asthma and we work on a couple of other, obviously, health and the environment intersect at so many different levels. And, I was also wondering, is there any sort of data on the intersection of mental health and the environment? Is that something that's been, collected, or is that something that is in the works, or is that something?
Yeah, great question. So definitely the health department collects data on mental health, and we are in the process of adding some mental health data to this website, as well as building some other resources, some data stories about the ways that public space and mental health intersect.
That's great.
Yeah. Excellent questions. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming and giving us that wonderful presentation. It was definitely very informative.
Thanks again for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay. Moving right along on the agenda, correspondence. We did not have any correspondence. Next, does anybody have any old business to bring up? Old business? Okay, does anybody have any new business to bring up? I know Brooke does. Does any other members have any? Okay, Brooke, the floor is yours.
Okay, I even had to write a little script to make sure I covered everything for you. A question for the group. I was wanting to know if DOB has contacted any of your offices regarding a local law 97 talk. Anyone have any feedback from DOB?
So any of the council districts or community boards, have you been contacted by DOB?
There might have been an email, but no definitive date for presentation.
Okay. They reached out to our office to look at arranging a meeting about it, so I did a little digging. It was passed by City Council in 2019 and affects most buildings in the city that are over 25,000 square feet. And they will now be required to meet new energy efficiency and greenhouse gas emissions starting in 2024. Stricter limits will then go into effect in 2030 and then at scheduled points through 2050. They have 60 different types of buildings, which will begin to phase in next year. That includes everything from multifamily houses, warehouses, apartment buildings, office buildings, hotels, supermarkets, etc. So I downloaded a file from Open Data that I found on a list of structures at 25,000 square feet and over in the city. It was over 280,000 lines of data. So I crunched that down just to Staten Island specific sites and cleaned it up a little bit. And it looks like it's about 750 sites in the city. And I have that all split out by community district, community board, zip code, what have you. I am waiting on a list from DOB and their sustainability division. Apparently they have their own list, so I'd like to cross-check it against that because there are some instances where buildings may be excluded from this at this point. So as soon as I have that and be able to cross-check, I'll have that for you to take a look at. But the general idea is essentially for a building's carbon footprint limit. Owners will have to increase the building's energy efficiency with efforts such as improved insulation, switching to lower carbon fuels, using credits from eligible renewable projects, or installation of solar panels or everyone's favorite battery storage on site. Each building's carbon limit will depend on its size, its property type, and the compliance year that's coming down the pike. Last year, I was talking to Jerry a little bit before we started. DOB released an initial set of proposed rules for carbon accounting, technical calculations, and fulfillment requirements. And then just last month, they've released an updated new set of proposed rules that will clarify the compliance for affected buildings. It's really pretty dense material, to be honest. Anyway, as I said, the DOB's Bureau of Sustainability contacted the BP's office and would like to schedule a meeting with electeds, the community boards, and basically do their presentation on Local Law 97. If they haven't really done much in reaching out for you other than an email, what I'd like to do is contact each of your offices separately and try to get a date on the books in the next week or two or three where we can connect. I'll also pass along your contact information to DOB if they'd like to come back and do presentations at the community boards. And Marie, I'll see what they can do about coming for the November Borough Board.
Okay.
At least see if they can have a succinct presentation for us. I will include just some of the general web links in the minutes of what I've been researching, as well as hopefully that spreadsheet, if I can get my hands on it from DOB, just to give you an idea of what locations they're looking at. It should be interesting. But that's the new business that I had for you today.
Please contact Charlene on all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you very much, Brooke.
You bet, my dear.
And Brooke, offhand, that's the one that also includes Local Law 97, that if they retrofit their buildings, they can no longer bring natural gas in, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to create such tension.
Right.
Okay. Okay. We'll be ready for whenever you want to have that meeting.
I'll plug you in.
Okay, does anybody have any other new business to bring up? Okay, in that case then, can I entertain a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Nick first, Elena second. Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. We will see you in June. Hopefully Brooke will be successful and we'll be able to get Department of Buildings out here again. Thank you again to our friends over at Department of Health. We appreciate the information.
Thank you for having us. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
You
Thanks,
too.
you as well.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.